All right. Given an integer array nums and an integer value, remove all occurrences of val in nums in place. The order of the element may be changed. Then return the number of elements in nums which are not equal to val. Consider the number of elements in nums which are not equal to val to be k to get accepted. You need to do the following things. Change the array nums such that the first k element of nums contains the element which are not equal to val. The remaining element of nums are not as important as well as the size of nums. Return k. So basically, the problem is asking us to remove every occurrences of a certain given value from an array in place. That is, we cannot use extra space. We have to modify the array that was given to us, and we have to return the count of elements that are not equal to that value that was given to us. So if we have an array 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, 0, 4, 2, and the value given to us was 2, our output is going to be 5, because if we remove every occurrences of 2 and just push them to the back of our array, we're going to get 5 different elements that are not 2. So basically, that is what our algorithm wants to do. So first things first, we're using the 2-pointer approach, right? So we have our counter, we have our elements in our list of array, and this just be the visual representation of our modified array. So we look through the array. We check the first element, right? And we compare it to the value that we were given. In this case, we were given 2. 2 is the value that we do not want to be a part of our array, right? So we check the first element. The first element we have here is 0. 0 is obviously not 2. And because 0 is not 2, we keep it at index 0. It stays where it is. So we bring it here, put 0 here to occupy our index 0. And then we move our counter to 1. We check for the next element that is to occupy our index 1, right? So element 1, is it equal to 2? No, it is not equal to 2. So it can be a part of our array. So element 1 will come here to occupy index 1. Now we move on to index 2. We increase our counter by 1 to move on to index 2. Now we check for the next element. The next element we have here is 2. Obviously, 2 is equal to 2. And we don't want it. We don't want it to be a part of our modified array. So we don't do anything. We move on to the next element. 2 again. We don't want 2, for goodness sake, right? We move on to the next element. 3, finally, something that is not 2. So 3 will come here to occupy our index 2. And then we increase our counter by 1. It goes to 3. Now we are looking for the next element to occupy position 3. We come back here, move on to the next element, 0. 0 is not equal to 2, so it can definitely come here. And then we go on to increase our counter to 4. Now, let's go on. The next element is 4. 4 is definitely not 2, so it can come here. Fine. And then we increase our counter to 5. And then let's move on to the next element. The next element, which is the last in this our sample, is 2. 2 is the forbidden fruit that we do not want in our array. So no, we are not going to accept it. So finally, what we have here is counter 5. So we have 5 distinct elements that are not 2. And our array has to be modified, right? So let's go back. The first thing we're going to do is declare our counter. Remember, we're using counter in our visual. So let counter equals to 0, first of all. And then we have our for loop. Let I equals 0, I less than nums.length, I plus plus. All right, we are looping now. Just the same way we showed here, we check each element. Is it equal to 2? If it is not equal to 2, then it gets to still stay in the array according to the counter position. But if it is equal to 2, what are you doing here? Get out, literally. So let's have an if statement. If nums I, the current element that is looping, if it is not equal to the value we were given, then we keep it in the array at the position of counter. So nums counter will be equals to nums I. And then we increase our counter, which is exactly what we're doing on our visual page. So counter plus plus. And then at the end of our loop, we return counter. It's as simple as that. Let's try to run this and see what we have. Oh, good. Case 1 was accepted. Let's check our results. So we have 3, 2, 2, 3. We expect the value given to us was 3. This is our expected output. We don't want 3 in our modified array. We want it to just have 2 and 2, because obviously 3 was the forbidden fruit that we were given to not allow in our array. So expected, yeah, test case 1 was accepted. Test case 2, I think this was the one we used. Yes, it was 01304. This was the one we used for demonstrating our visual. The arrangement is a little bit different, but no problem. All right, so let's submit this. Ladies and gentlemen, our solution was accepted. And that is basically how to solve our LeetCode 27 remove element question. So if you have any comments, any question, any suggestion or clarification, please don't forget to drop it in the comment section below. Like, don't forget to comment, subscribe, turn on notification for more tech and coding content. See you in my next video. Bye.